Hello and welcome to Bits Box World, Builds Made Easy. Hi, I'm Tom and today I'm going to be building a hill for my high elfin archers for the old worlds, but hills can be used in many other mediums, can't they? Dungeons and Dragons, they can be used in 40k, so this is such a valuable bit of scenery that is going to be useful in many occasions. I've got my high elf archers and my repeater bolt thrower. They've been sitting on top of hills in a couple of games, but I don't have any myself. But I do have a lot of scraps lying around from other projects I've been working on. So bits of cardboard, bits of foam board, and I thought, you know what, stacked together you can get quite a height. So I'm going to start off by just making the base of my hill, and I thought 17 centimeters, that feels about right. With your ranks of models, certainly with high elves, they're 25 mil now in the new old world rules. So I thought, you know what, if it goes 17 centimeters, by the time it's at the top of the hill it's going to be about 13-14 centimeters, so you should be able to get a couple of ranks on the top nice and easily. Now I'm going to cut up all of my different pieces, and then when they're stacked together like layers of a cake, or I could do with some cake now, love a bit of cake, but I now have my layers of hill all stacked up, and I could fasten them together, glue them together with a bit of PVA glue, but I just got myself a glue gun and I'm going to test it out and see how this works. Supposedly it dries really quickly, gets things working and moving really quickly to get your builds on the go, not waiting for white glue or PVA glue to dry. The only thing is it can burn you, so I learned that the hard way. Don't touch the glue. Don't touch the glue when you've just got it out the glue gun. It's really hot. And then, as you can see, it goes a bit like Spider-Man-esque, all this stringy spiderweb material as well. So I've been learning how to use my glue gun, which is really super fun. And it was relatively cheap and yeah, a bit beat up because it was second hand. So yeah, definitely worth getting a glue gun. I've been fully convinced that glue guns are an essential part of any model builder's arsenal of tools, and yeah, I'm definitely going to be using mine for other projects. But there we go, I've got the basis of my hill all stacked up. Now I need to start working on making it look a bit more realistic. So I picked up a pot of this just household filler, actually from the pound shop. It was literally £1, so really cheap and really good. I'm using definitely the wrong tool. My finger is not the right tool for spreading this on, but I went with it and did have a bit of control with moulding it on and putting it on where I wanted, and covered all of the areas and tried to make it look a bit hilly, and with the back there it's going to be a bit rocky on the back. The next thing, I thought I need to make it look realistic, like lumps of stone in certain areas. So all I did with that was get a stone and start to indent the filler, so it took on the properties and the pattern off the stone. I've seen people use balled up tin foil. That could also be an option as well, but a stone, it just is one that I had lying around outside, so super easy, super cheap as well. So the whole point of this hill build is to make it as cheaply and as accessible as possible, and I'm just using scrap like packaging boxes and a bit of foam board that I had lying around, which you can pick up relatively cheap from a craft shop. And all I'm doing now is I'm covering the areas that I want to be sort of soiled effect or dirt effect, because I'm going to be using a bit of sand to just texture those areas. And this is the sand that I've got. I buy it in bulk, so I buy it in these big I think it's sort of 5 kilo bags of sand just from a trade centre, and it's about £4, I think, so super cheap. And it's cheaper to buy it in bulk if you're going to be using lots than buying little hobby bags of sand. But feel free to go and get the hobby textured bags. This for me does the same thing. The only thing is, it is quite fine sand, so if you want anything with a stony effect, then you might have to buy that elsewhere. And it's looking really good in my view. Super cheap to make, just need to get some paint on it. So sprayed it black for ease and for quickness. The only thing I will say is if you are using foam board and any of that is exposed, it will melt the foam board. So maybe just make sure it's covered in either PVA glue or in your basing material. And then I'm just going to paint it up with some just trade paints, some acrylic paints that I have lying around for other stuff as well, giving it an earthy feel to start off with, and then doing a bit of a rock effect. So whilst I'm painting that up, let's have a chat about the rules then in the old world. So it says hills are a tactically important position. Not only do they offer bonuses in combat to the unit that holds the high ground, they confer bonuses to shooting, allowing an additional rank to shoot. Hills in general are treated as open ground. So that's really awesome because you can rank up your archers in 2 ranks and still fire with the whole unit. I tend to, if my archers are on the ground, they are in this one big long line, and sticking them on a hill seems like a really good option. The additional thing that it gives is it gives a vantage point as well, so you can see everything around you, which is really awesome. But it does mean that everything else can see you on the top of the hill, so take that in mind. And then there's also a rule: if you're behind a hill, you can't see models on the other side of the hill because it's obscuring you between the view. So yeah, looking forward to giving these hills a decent go within an old world battle. And also this method that I've been doing as well, it's just a really basic oblong hill, but you can get a bit more special with this. So stay till the end because I have built something which I'm really proud of, and be kind with me in the comments on it, but stay till the end and check out the alternate hill that I have made, and let me know what you think in the comments about that hill. So once I've done the initial coating of all of the brown and also the grey effect there, I move on. I do a bit of highlighting, so this is just, I've put a bit more white into the grey, and then I do a bit of highlighting on the soil as well. So really happy with how these are coming out and how they have taken on that texture of the rock that I used. Really thinking for a basic hill that is costing hardly anything, this is definitely a worthwhile option. And I'm really liking how this has ended up looking. Looks awesome, and I could leave it like that if I wanted just a barren earthen hill. But I'm going to add a bit of grass because I've got high elves and I think that they'd be fighting in less desolate places, hopefully. I've got 2 sets of static grass. This one here is 5mm, and I use a technique that I call pinch and pull. Pinch and pull to make tufts of grass. And you can check out my video on how to do that. Why don't you go and do that? And then I've also got this here. This is 2mm static grass as well, so you can start to layer up your grasses to give a bit more texture to the hill that you're making. And then using a bit of PVA glue, put it in the places you want, leave a bit of soil is the bit that I like to do, and then just cover it with your static grass. and you end up with this really nice effect. So this hill here, this is about 1.5 inches to 2 inches tall, I believe it was, so it gives them a good elevation. But this is the hill that I was talking about earlier, my favourite one that I have made. I really just made it out of scraps and using the same technique that I've shown you all along in this video, and I think that's looking really awesome. And then I had I had a spare tree. I bought some cheap bonsai plastic trees that I thought looked really cool, and I felt, you know what, this needs to sit on the top of there. And I think it looks really, really awesome. I'm so happy with how it ended up looking. Why don't you let me know in the comments below anything that you want me to have a go at trying to build. I'm really up for trying out anything, and certainly trying to make it as cheaply and as accessible as I can for all of our gaming needs. But let's just have a look at that beautiful hill. Certainly could sit as a centerpiece in any battle, any battlefield, with your hills and various other things. Really starts to make things come alive and adds those great added elements to your wargaming. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give me a like, why not subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will definitely see you in the next video. Thanks for watching Bitsbox World, builds made easy.